fascist, racist, hate speech. Words so overused they've lost meaning. They're used to force silence and justify violence, and they got Charlie killed. Kaizen and I really like this guy's videos a lot.
Racist. This word has been overused for so long that we don't seem to understand what it is anymore. And it's what people call Charlie Kirk, in part for this statement about several prominent Black women.
In fact, you know, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know you do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
Was that rude and insensitive of Charlie? Yes. Was it a counterproductive personal attack? Also yes. Was it racist? No. The Oxford English Dictionary defines racism as prejudice.
And this is the problem. This is the problem with affirmative action. Affirmative action in any sort of racial slot, like racial, like, oh, like, and I mean, like, you have cases where like Joe Biden himself was like, oh, well, you know, when a slot opens up, it's going to be for a Black woman. And when you create a situation like that, it means the best person for the job is not getting the job. The person who's getting the job is the best person within the specified category that you have chosen, right? Which doesn't equal the best person, right? So the best person could be Black, but the best person, it's a possibility that they could be Black. But like, if you remove everyone else from the equation, then everybody believes then that even if the person who is Black is the best person, it brings it into question whether or not they are. It just makes sense if you think about it, right? Yeah, it's anti-meritocratic, and it makes you question every single. Now you have a case where, like, you know, a Black person will get into a college, and you'll be like, oh, did they get into college because they're good, or did they get in because of affirmative action? Because affirmative action lowered the bar for them to get in. And it's a real question. It's a real question. It's not really a racist question to ask. It's a question that was created because of the rules that you put in. So it is a valid question to ask.
Prejudice or discrimination based on race, or the belief that some races are inherently superior. Out of context, Charlie's statement can sound racist. And here's the context. Charlie was talking about affirmative action policies. He was responding to a series of admissions by several of those Black women that they benefited from affirmative action, including this one.
I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action.
Michelle Obama wrote of her college experiences, I sometimes wondered if people thought I got there because of affirmative action. I went to Harvard, and I've often wondered the same thing. I even had a white liberal, who I knew, throw that in my face. And it's a rational thing to wonder. Charlie voiced the...
That's what I mean. It's a completely rational, logical thing to wonder. He said it. That's exactly what I'm saying.
...doubt that many were afraid to admit. In a system that factors in race, people will wonder if race is a factor. So if Michelle wondered if people had doubt, wouldn't it be reasonable to expect that some people did have doubt? Now, look, you might think the upside of affirmative action outweighs the downside. That's okay. Charlie disagreed. And here was his mistake. By attacking the intelligence of those women, he made his point in an emotionally unintelligent way. It was racially insensitive. Charlie was a white man commenting on specific Black women. So there's a higher chance of him coming across as offensive and other Black women feeling defensive. That doesn't mean he can't speak. It's just a reminder to all of us that what you say matters and how you say it matters too. And it wasn't racist.
That's true.
He didn't say they were unqualified because they were Black.
The other thing too that you have to consider with anyone who's is everything okay now on chat? It's all good? I lost my train of thought. The problem with like how I think about things, like how my brain works, is my brain is like a swimming tank of fish. And if I look away, if I follow one fish, like the line of thought from like one of the fish, and I follow it, and then I all of a sudden look at another fish, I lose track of where the other fish went. It's the best way I have to explain it. But it's like that aspect that I have is the reason I can talk for so long about stuff. I'm just gonna back up a bit. Maybe I'll remember.
Offensive. That doesn't mean he can't speak. It's just a reminder to all of us that what you say matters. And
oh, I remember what I was gonna say. So like this kind of applies for like every single content creator, like, you know, Charlie Kirk included, right? If you're out there all the time, you're out there in public all the time, you're gonna make mistakes because people are human. Even like you know, Michael Jordan misses baskets sometimes, right? And sometimes you make a mistake. Sometimes you make a really bad mistake. It costs you the game. And that's kind of like, imagine that, but like with words. It's like really hard to communicate like with other people, to be honest, like especially for me. And it's just gonna happen where you're gonna be talking and like you have a certain like thought in mind, and it just comes out like in the bad way because of the circumstances that, like, you know, you like miscalculated like some kind of circumstance, you said it wrong. Like everybody makes mistakes, and with Charlie Kirk, like obviously he's gonna say stuff that sounds kind of sus because he's just always out there.
how you say it matters too. And it wasn't racist. He didn't say they were unqualified because they were black. He said he thought they were unqualified and speculated they were elevated because they were black. And affirmative action policies create the conditions for that speculation.
It does.
He attacked specific individuals who he...
So like this kind of applies for like every single content creator, like, you know, Charlie Kirk included, right? If you're out there all the time, you're out there in public all the time, you're gonna make mistakes because people are human. Even like you know, Michael Jordan misses baskets sometimes, right? And sometimes you make a mistake. Sometimes you make a really bad mistake. It costs you the game. And that's kind of like, imagine that, but like with words. It's like really hard to communicate like with other people, to be honest, like especially for me. And it's just gonna happen where you're gonna be talking and like you have a certain like thought in mind, and it just comes out like in the bad way because of the circumstances that, like, you know, you like miscalculated like some kind of circumstance, you said it wrong. Like everybody makes mistakes, and with Charlie Kirk, like obviously he's gonna say stuff that sounds kind of sus because he's just always out there.
He said he thought they were unqualified and speculated they were elevated because they were black. And affirmative action policies create the conditions for that speculation.
It does.
He attacked specific individuals who he thought benefited from a race-based policy. He did not imply that their race made them inferior. Which brings us to our bigger problem. Charlie was just killed. People are celebrating his death. His comment was insensitive, and celebrating death is inhuman.
Yeah.
That would be true even if that statement was racist. But that's the
true.
problem with
That's
social
true.
media. An insensitive sentence gets called racist. And then racists get the death sentence. Then people rush to explain, I don't condemn violence, but this is why I'm not bothered. We should all be bothered. We think we know the whole truth, but we don't. Algorithms give us news that confirms our views.
Being bothered by, like, if you saw like the Charlie Kirk thing and it didn't bother you at all, and then like, you know that like his family is like now living without him, like his daughter is like living without him, like you just lack morals, like you just lack like a conscience, basically.
So people don't see the Black Leadership Summits Charlie organized. They don't see how he had Black allies who he listened to when he made mistakes. Social media is warping our reality and our humanity. A bad argument doesn't make a bad person, but we exaggerate the bad and explain away the good. And now, many are celebrating the death of a man they're certain they understood. This assassination is a wake-up call for our nation. This is where broken discourse leads. Partisanship isn't working, so we need a new approach. I've got the full breakdown and a path forward on my Substack. Link below.
Nice. I'm gonna link you guys to the to his actual X account if you guys want to see more of his content. It's really, really good stuff.